Om. Just to recollect what we were discussing 2 weeks ago, I think before we dispersed, what we were discussing was sahana, forbearance, where we have all the opportunities to not act or run away, leave the problem. Swami says we need to face it with viveka, discrimination, and through that process, through that sahana, we will develop titiksha and equanimity. And Swami said that was the way to attain liberation itself. So we had discussed in detail how we can practice sahana in our day-to-day life, or titiksha, forbearance. So that's where we were. So I will stop there just to continue from where we left off. So I will ask Sister Kalyani and Sister Narmada.
Sarah, here some pause has to be made on one point. Sahana is not putting up with something, tolerating it, bearing it, because you have no other goal. It is having the capacity to overcome it, but yet disregarding it. That is the spiritual discipline. Patiently putting up with the external world of duality combined with inner equanimity and peace. That is the path to liberation. Bearing all with analytic discrimination, that is the type of sahana that will yield good outcome. Viveka is the word used for such discrimination. It means the capacity to recognize what is called the agama payana, nature of the objective world. That is to say, the world of objects that come and go are not eternal and are not eternal.
Okay, so this is what we were discussing last week. I think Auntie Mani had mentioned about Agama Payana and Viveka. So I will just pause here. If anyone has something to share, we can please do so. If not, we can move on.
Sai Ram, I'm sorry for being late, but could you explain again the Agama Payana, what exactly the words mean?
Agama means to come, Payana means to leave.
Oh, okay.
Okay, to go. So in this world, again, Jagat also Swami says that which is born and that which decays, so leaves. So then in this world, everything comes and goes. Nothing is permanent. So Viveka is the ability of discriminating that which is not permanent, impermanent, and that which is permanent.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. I don't know. Mani Auntie, do you have something to say, Auntie?
No, nothing else. Here, agama apayina, you know, that's the word? Paina,
Yes.
no? Apayina. Isn't that?
Yes.
Agama, which
And
comes.
Apai.
Apayina is to go out. That is it. All objects of the objective world is just impermanent. They come and go, they come and go. One has to have that viveka, that discrimination to distinguish between what is permanent, what is transient. Yeah, that we have to go through. That's all. I think that's it.
Thank you, Auntie.
Yeah. I think we can go to the next one.
Generally, man seeks only happiness and joy. Under no stress will he desire misery and grief. He treats happiness and joy as his closest well-wishers, and misery and grief as his direct enemies. This is a great mistake. When one is happy, the risk of grief is great. Fear of losing their happiness will haunt the man. Misery prompts inquiry, discrimination, self-examination, and fear of worse things that might happen. It awakens you from sloth and conceit. Happiness forget one's obligation to oneself as a human being. It drags man into egoism and the sins that egoism leads one to commit. Grief renders man alert and watchful. So misery is a real friend. Happiness spends out the stock of merit and arouses the baser passions. So it is really an enemy. Really, misery is an eye opener. It promotes thought and task of self improvement. It also endows one new and valuable experiences. Happiness draws a veil over experiences that harden a person and make him tough. So troubles and travails are to be treated as friends, at least not as enemies. Only it is best to regard both happiness and misery as gifts of God. That is the easiest path for one's own liberation.
Thank you very much, sister.
Uh,
I think it's pretty straightforward. I guess there's nothing for me to comment on. I will open it up for discussion. Swami wants us to treat misery and sorrow as friends.
Yeah.
He's
That
giving us-
sentence, sorry, Sairam.
Yes, Auntie.
Fear of losing the happiness will haunt the man. That's so true. When we are happy, we just forget ourselves. But at the same time, that fear, oh, this happiness might go away from me. That makes a person really miserable. That point, Swami has brought it out in a very nice manner. I find it very, very interesting. Sairam.
There's one line which doesn't seem to make sense to me. I think I don't think it's got to translate. Happiness draws a veil over experiences that harden a person.
That was I
and
also
make him tough. I don't think that is
not the correct. I was also thinking about that. Yes. Happiness makes you forget one's obligations to oneself as a human being. It drags man. No, that one, not the other one. Where was it? Second. Happiness draws a veil over experiences that harden a person and make him tough. I don't think so. I don't. That's. సుఖము మానవత్వమునే మరిపించి అవివేక అహంకారములతో పాపములు చేయించును. That's I think.
That's what Swami is.
Yeah.
I think maybe Auntie, I think you will have to
read the whole thing,
Yes, read and translate, Auntie, please.
So misery is a friend. From there I should read.
Yes, Auntie.
Yeah. సాధారణముగా మానవులు సుఖ సంతోషములనే ఆశించురు కానీ ఎట్టి సమయమునందు కష్ట దుఃఖములను ఆశించురు. దే డోంట్ విష్ ఫర్ బ్యాడ్ థింగ్స్, ఆల్వేస్ దే వాంట్ హ్యాపీనెస్. సుఖ సంతోషములన్న మిత్రులు గాని కష్ట దుఃఖములు దే ట్రీట్ మిజరీ యాజ్ దేర్ ఎనిమీ. ఇది పెద్ద అవివేకము. సుఖములో ఆనందము తక్కువ, అశాంతి ఎక్కువ. సుఖములో ఆనందము తక్కువ, అశాంతి ఎక్కువ.
Yes.
Why Swami is saying that?
Yes, so Swami is saying
that is why ashanti ekko, because we are afraid of losing that happiness.
Yes.
Ashanti. కష్టములలో విచారణ ఎక్కువ. We start
misery prompts inquiry. That's what it is. So it's okay.
సుఖములో ఉన్నంత పాపము కష్టములో నుండదు. సుఖములో ఉన్నంత పాపము.
So I think it's not mentioned clearly.
Uh-huh.
Swami says commit sins. It comes later.
కష్టము మానవుని జాగృత స్థితికి తెప్పించి ముందు యోచనకు విచారించునట చేయండి. That's correct. When we are in difficulties, we start thinking about and
Grief renders man alert and watchful. That's what it says. Okay.
సుఖము మానవత్వమునే మరిపించి అవివేక అహంకారములతో పాపములు చేయించును. Oh, that is it.
Yeah, it drags man into egoism and since egoism leads one to commit.
Yeah. Then పుణ్యములు ఖర్చు చేయించును. So when we are spending all our merits, మన పాపములను తరిగింప చేసి జాగ్రత్తను ప్రసాదించి కష్టమే నిజ మిత్రుడు.
So misery is a real friend. Happiness spends out the stock of merit and arouses baser passions.
Yeah, correct.
That's
పుణ్యములను ఖర్చు చేయించి పాపముల చెలరేగింపజేయు సుఖమును మన శత్రువుగా భావించవలను.
So it is really an enemy.
Yeah.
Happiness.
That one sentence, happiness draws a veil over.
Yeah.
That is very confusing here.
Sai Ram, another sentence also, it makes me wonder. Happiness makes one forget one's obligations to oneself as a human being.
Yeah.
Not in this chapter, but overall, we always think, be happy yourself and make others happy. And that's that kind of understanding I got it, first you have to be yourself happy and then make others happy. That is that's normally the people's understanding, rather than sad in front of others. At least be yourself happy first and then make others happy. Here Swami says that Swami explains in many different ways. It's really happiness, it's really your enemy, and we have to we should like the misery and grief. But my question, if we have happiness and the grief or misery, we have to tell the Swami or any other, the Almighty, we pray, don't give me any happiness, give me the misery and grief. As a layman person, it's really hard to understand, if always we think that happiness or misery is the gift from God, God prasadam. So if that is the case, why we have to treat happiness as enemy? Whatever I have done it, God wanted to make me happy. So shouldn't I enjoy that happiness at that moment?
Yeah, I feel, Anandi sister, that sentence, happiness makes you forget one's obligations to oneself as a human being. I understand it as, you become selfish. Don't become selfish, he says. You forget that you have to help others also, make others also happy. You forget one's obligations to oneself as a human being. That means it drags man into egoism. That's the next sentence. It drags man into egoism. It becomes egoistic. And the sins that egoism leads one to commit. When we are very happy, we can be, there is a possibility that we can become selfish. I feel so.
Yeah, that is very true. when we enjoy the happiness, we always think I am the one, I have done this one, I can do anything, everything. That sort of egotism, it would come along the way of while we enjoy the happiness.
Yeah,
That
there
is
is
very true.
nobody equal to me. When happiness comes, oh, I'm so happy. No one can compete with me. That kind of feeling comes to a person who is very happy. Swami is asking us to be watchful about that. Yeah, okay, Narmada, you wanted to say something?
No, I see Das and Uncle's hands up. Maybe he had it for a while.
Yeah. Let him.
Yes, Ram. So I think some happiness here, if we are giving priority for the sensual happiness, our mind always goes outwards. So you are looking forward to the problems, but our mind supposed to be goes invertedly, mean we have to look for the permanent happiness. So we are not supposed to look for the temporary happiness, whichever the senses going to enjoy. Thank you.
I also have a question. I always feel happiness and sadness is in one's perception. I mean, what is happiness for me might be different for somebody else. It's not happy. Like someone might think that that person is like they are suffering, but that situation may be happiness for another person who didn't have that, right? So how do you define happiness? Isn't it satisfaction and contentment? So in that case, if you're not satisfied and content, you are not happy. So that's where I'm a bit confused.
I'm just going to share, I don't know if it's an answer to you, but it looks like these two paragraphs Swami wrote to directing towards me. Seriously, each and every line. Last 5-6 years, I have been happiness, I would say not for everybody, but for majority, I would say our happiness is more materialistic, or my job, the status, the home, the car we own. That's what I think majority of us measure. And as Auntie said, the ego might come. My understanding is, and what I have realized is, even though I sit down and meditate and say to Bhagawan, I'm not egoistic, I felt ego comes in a very subtle manner. It comes it's like a snake. It doesn't make a sound, but it can come inside you. Yeah. And you won't even realize, oh my God, I'm egoistic. And yet I'm saying I'm not egoistic. But it's a very subtle way. It can come into you and play a role, and you won't even realize, my God, it's there. It comes. So that's very kind of, you have to be so cautious about it. That's my understanding or experience I have seen. Second thing is, last 5-6 years, I have been in a job. Of course, Swami has realized that I used to be so, job defines me, put it that way. Job defines me, who I am. If I'm not working, I'm not, I have worked since after graduation and all of that. So job defines, I believe, for us, for me, it defines me who I am. And last 5-6 years, I have deliberately taken contracts so that, with the intention that each contract will renew. And you won't believe, I think I worked double time and very sincere, very hardworking. None of the contract renewed. And in nonprofit, it's very rare. And he always give me 3 or 5 to 6 months without a job. And during that time, forcefully or willingly, it happened. I am reading, I am more meditation. I'm got the opportunity to reflect, making some, inquiry, what has happened in the past, why it happened. And I believe that is a time he gave me to, actually it's a blessing in disguise, which I was not able to see. In last 2 years, whenever I didn't have a job, I'm saying, thank you so much. This is opportunity for me to relax, to sit and to meditate and to discriminate what is my next step. though on the side I'm praying to Bhagawan, grow me spiritually, but was not appreciating the time off he was giving, because I'm like, why you were after me? Why I'm not getting this job renewed? But on the side, I'm saying, grow me spiritually, and forgot he's giving me the opportunity to sit down, to relax, to think, what is your next step? So I believe now, I won't say fully, but every time he gives me a break, I have to say, thank you, Lord, so much. Thank you so much for giving me. Now it's fun from a time for me to reflect, to make discrimination, self-examination, all those words. That's why I'm saying each and every line looks like it's for me.
Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you.
When Auntie was reading the translation, is it the same there in Telugu? Happiness makes you forget one's obligations to oneself.
Yeah, let me read it. I just wanted to say that also. That line, Sukhamu మానవత్వమునే మరపించి అవివేక అహంకారములతో పాపములు చేయించును. That sentence is very clear. You know, you forget about your humanity. When you are happy, you forget that you are a human being. So selfish you become, and aviveka ahankara, both. It will come to you and it will make you do bad things. That's what Swami is trying to say that. Kalyani, I think is it clear to you?
Yes, Auntie. And is aviveka, is that translated as sin?
Indiscrimination.
Indiscrimination.
Lack of discrimination.
Okay.
And ahankara is egoism.
Sairam, my point of view is like also like see that if we keep happy, that's how the ego is growing. We don't know. Whenever we have also like some sad things happen, then we come to the reality. So I think that's what like a Swami means. Like you know, like don't be, if you like sometimes, you know, whenever that you are too excited, happy, and the adults say, don't be too excited because some sad things going to happen to you. So then you come to the reality. That's how I take it to Sairam.
Yeah, and I think we have to circle back what Sister Narmada has asked. What is exactly happiness? What is a real definition of happiness? It's a common definition, or it's individual, how we define happiness.
I think Brother Dasan was sort of explaining that also. Because usually, you know, we want to be happy. I think that's natural for every human being. But then what, as Narmada rightly pointed out, our definition of happiness itself is maybe faulty, because we are looking for happiness in the world, and that will actually make us use our punya karma, as Swami says. Our stock of merit will have to be wasted away because our bank account depletes, because we start spending any good punya we have to procure something from the world. So I think, as Brother Dasan said, when we seek happiness with senses or sensory objects, two things happen. One is it's not lasting, and it does not necessarily give lasting joy. On the other hand, it can lead us to sorrow also. So as I think somebody used the word, I think contentment.
Yeah.
So the contentment, it's the real happiness, as Swami would say. I think Swami has already spoken about it somewhere earlier. That is the happiness which Swami wants us to seek.
I asked that question, Anna, because I've heard in one of Swami's talks, where in Swami's discourses, he said, be happy to his students or whatever, right? So that's why I was a bit conflicted. Like here, it seems like happiness is not a very good thing. So when Swami says be happy, I guess that is contentment more on.
Yeah, so I think it's a very, very, very good quote of Swami. When Swami says be happy, Swami is not asking seek happiness. Okay. Be happy means the happiness is within you. So find it somewhere within you, not on an external object.
Right. Okay.
Okay, I think that's what it is, as I understand.
Yeah.
Others can also comment on this.
In this translation that Manyanti read, Swami saying sukha for the word happiness here.
Yes.
And so sukha, does it specifically refer to sensory happiness or not necessarily?
Not necessarily, but Swami uses the word sukha santosha. That's what it's a pair word pair Swami has used again and again. Sukha santosha. That means we want to be happy. Sukha is actual comfort also. You see, something which gives us, puts us in a very comfortable situation. The comforts also can refer to sukha. Santosha means getting some joy out of that. Auntie, சரியா அது?
Yeah, correct. Yes, I think you're correct.
Okay.
So Sandosam and Anandam are two different meaning, or are they same? So maybe Sandosam is the worldly side and the Anandam or bliss is the spiritual side.
Yes.
Yes, Anandam is generally bliss, as generally it's translated as bliss.
Spiritual bliss.
Spiritual bliss. Auntie, and the next Telugu paragraph also we have to read.
కష్టములు మానవత్వమునందలి వివేకమును విజృంపచేసి నివారణ శక్తిని కలిగించుచున్నవి. Miseries make a person use his discrimination and to find out a way how it can be solved. It provokes you to think about it. సుఖములు నూతన అనుభవములను కూడా మరచిపోవునట్లు చేసి మందమతిగా మార్చుచున్నది. When sukha comes, it makes you dull because you are enjoying it. All the time you are enjoying the sukha and you are forgetting the recent experiences also. అనుభవాలను కూడా మర్చిపోయినట్లు చేసి మందమతిగా మార్చును. It makes you a dull person. కాన కష్టములను కేవలము మిత్రునిగా చూడకపోయినా శత్రువు మాత్రము కాదు. Even if you treat bad things as even if you don't think it is a friend, but you never treat it as your enemy. That's, I think, up to that, I think that's as a
one
friend.
more, I think one more line, Auntie.
Yeah. ప్రారబ్ధము పాలిటబడిన సుఖ దుఃఖములను పరమాత్మ ప్రసాదుగా తలంచవలను. as a gift of God. Treat all the sukha and dukkha as prasadam. అప్పుడే బంధ విముక్తుడవు అవుతాడు. You will become liberated.
Okay, that's all, Auntie. I think that's what so far.
You become liberated. That's it.
So what I'm getting from here is whatever happening, good or in our eye, good or bad,
Is
just
prasadam.
take it. Just take it. Prasadam. Yeah. Yeah. Because it has to happen. It will happen. So why not to accept it and move?
We all read these things, Shivani. We come across these statements of Swami. We think about it. But when it really something happens, really bad things happen, we just break down. That is our nature. So by reading all these things, what is it? It's awareness is coming to us that we should not do this. At least a path Swami has shown us how to get rid of this grief. Sairam.
So, Sairam, brother.
Sairam.
So, one more thing, if we are going through some problems in our life all the time, so I have to think I'm tasting my bitter fruit, whatever I did it in my past karma.
Yeah.
So then I'm going to think about the God all the time. So at least I don't want to take this burden or this problem in my next life. Please burn everything my karma and take care of me. So you always think about God. Thank you, Saira.
Saira.
You know, Auntie, you well said that this reading definitely creates some kind of awareness and understanding, and maybe at times of trouble, maybe it will reveal itself. It will unfold in a way that it might give some surprises to us. Yes, correct.
Sairam, I also thought just as a little follow-up in the point, Swami is the best psychotherapist too. Most of the time we maybe only a few percentage of the people, they will enjoy the happiness. Majority of the people always suffer. That's why for those people, in order to make them move forward or give some sort of enthusiasm, motivation, we really need some sort of this one. Normally we always think happiness is the best thing. Right after this one, we will think even there are so much troubles and the miseries and the sorrow and everything. We will think, Swami has given me and the good opportunity or make me in my spiritual the path. He made me move forward and give me as prasadam that sort of I take personally myself, whenever we go down, we will think about this one and make ourselves elevate in the spiritual balance or even the worldly things. Just this also will pass and I will reach my destination, kind of. So Sister Sivani, she has already nicely explained. I thought Swami has given a really excellent lesson from this one, because most of us, we always suffer, rather than enjoying our happiness. So I really like this point. Thank you, Saira.
Sairam, sister.
And what we call suffering is actually not suffering. It's really not suffering. It's just, he's saying, you're blessed that I'm giving you those problems because it gives you some time. I mean, that's my interpretation, time to do some self-reflection.
Sairam, Uncle, that line that you pointed out, so the one where it says happiness draws a veil over experiences that harden.
So that is not there actually.
It's not actually there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it something like it'll make you dull or something like that?
So Swami says Sukhamula Nutana Anubhava Mulanu.
Yeah, that's
Mulanu Marapinchu. Auntie, you can read it.
Yeah. Sukhamulu నూతన అనుభవములను కూడాను మర్చిపోవునట్లు చేసి మందమతిగా మార్చుచున్నది. It's making you dull because you forget. In your happiness, you forget even the recent experiences of bad things which happened to you. You're not learning a lesson there. Yeah, that is the correct one. But that sentence is not the proper translation. Yeah, that sentence is not proper.
Swami is calling it Manda Buddhi.
Manda
and
Buddhi.
that for some reason they have translated as tough.
Tough.
So
yeah, correct.
Maybe it's something like hard-hearted, or you're not sensitive.
Yeah.
You are because you become dull. Manda Buddhi means your ability to discriminate itself becomes dull.
Okay.
You're not sensitive to others' problems. You are merged in your own happiness.
It's something like this. You're always looking for some excitement, something happy. Okay, you have something good, you forget that and you want some more of it. You again and running after again and again some sensory pleasure. In that process, your discrimination itself is blunted. So then what? So then you are not sensitive to people. All negative things happen. So Swami says that will not let you sharpen the discriminative faculty. because you are just you are just running after some pleasure, forgetting that you are already enjoying it. That's why Swami said again and again, you are forgetting that you had a new experience of happiness. Something like that is what my understanding. Chariya auntie, it's okay,
Yeah,
no?
correct.
And in the previous paragraph where it says happiness makes you forget one's obligation to oneself as a human being, is that just
That
referring
is
to
manavatvamu, your humanness. You forget even your humanness or your humanity. See,
You
human
become
value.
egoistic, selfish.
Okay. So there's no, it's not like an obligation. It's just like your humanness.
Yeah,
You
like
forget.
you forget your human values, if you want to put it that way.
That way,
Okay.
yeah.
Manavatvamu. That's well.
So I think we were talking about this a few study circles ago too. So it's okay to be happy when you think that it's God that's making you happy. But if you think that it's the world, then that's where all of this,
All this problem comes up. Yes. And Swami is also giving this, it's like, we have in a bank, we have a loan and we have our savings. What will we normally try to do? We'll try to pay off the debt. You don't want to use up the money which you have saved. The investments you leave for the last. So the same way we have punya and papa, both our bank balances are there. Punya is like our fixed deposit or savings.
Merit.
Papa is your debt. So do you want to use up the debt, pay off the debt first, or do you want to use your credit balance? I think that's what, so that's the logic Swami is giving us. So he says it may be always good for us to use out all the bad karma first, and then wait for, and then you have only the good left. So I think it's in that sense he's saying if there are bad difficulties come, just accept it, because anyway it's because you're prarabdham. I think Swami used the word prarabdham, I think in the earlier paragraphs.
Prarabdha, Swami says yes.
So we should understand, we cannot erase our negative karma. One day we have to go through. So it is better to use it up.
Yeah.
I think that's that analogy Swami seems to have given here. Karchupattu, like that. You spend away all your merits.
So as much as we can, we should try like not to indulge in anything that's just pure sensory pleasure, I guess, right?
Yes. Because usually people don't understand. If, for example, if we go and pray to Swami, please give me some money, give me something, it is going to come out of our account. It's not coming from anywhere else. If somebody even wants to get a lotto, $1 million, it has not come from somewhere else. Actually, it has come from our account.
Mail, Lana.
So people don't realize that. I think that's the issue. And I think Swami is just drawing our attention to that. That even if we pray for something good to happen, it's not coming from somewhere else. It is coming from our own account of punya and papa.
Okay.
Because sometimes we feel very proud, we tricked the system, we have gotten some money. God will sit there and laugh. You have tricked your own self, he will say, because it cannot come from somewhere else. You can't fool somebody else and cheat somebody else.
On top of that, we start justifying our action to Bhagawan.
Yes.
So Swami also mentioned, brother, one time one devotee asked, you have the ability to produce money, gold, and everything. So why don't you give that one so everybody will be happy? So Swami asked, if someone has some money, if the person is going to be happy. If someone has a lot of gold, if the person is going to be happy. So I came here to give the peace. Peace is the important. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, so whoever the thief or either the robbing people, they also, they put their balance in the past birth in the account. That's why it easily comes to them. Maybe it could be a lotto, it could be in the negative side, the intellectual thief. It's like the system fraud, or even the physically go and intrude the houses and take. So for those people also in the past life, maybe they would have put a lot of balance in their bank account. That's why one way or another they get some money.
A good question, sister. I think I will again open it up for discussion. Others can share their thoughts on this topic, on this question of if people by not so good means acquiring wealth, is it their bank account had a lot of money, or I think that's the question Sister Ananthi is asking. I'll just open it up for discussion.
Sai Ram.
Yes, Auntie.
This is Sakwanti.
Sakwanti, yes.
I have a question. This happiness and misery, is it Baba and Krishna, Lord Krishna, leading us to say that we should have equal-mindedness, accept everything as a gift of God, and just continue with your belief in God and do the good? Is that what all these happiness related questions and misery related questions Bhagawan is speaking?
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you for the question. So now we have two questions. One is Sister Anandi's question. Is this, do they have good bank balances, people who cheat? The second one is Sister Auntie Harku is asking, does Swami want us to, accept everything and progress spiritually? Yes, Brother Dasan.
So, Saram brother, in our Sister Anandi's questions, if I want to make illegal money, I can make it. But what Swami is saying, you have to make it according to Dharma. So we cannot say this is my karma or anything. This is my behavior, bad behavior. My motivation is money. I'm trying to make, I don't care about my spiritual. Then you have to face the consequence later. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, Brother Sairam. Anyone else would like to share anything, please?
Even I think what Sister Anandi said, that because of your past karmas, you are who you are if you are having a good bank balance. And that's what I have learned, that you should be grateful that if I have done a good, lived a good life, pious life in the future, in the past, and that's why I'm enjoying it. But many of us forget that. So yeah, I am on the same page. Maybe there's something to learn here.
Thank you very much, sister. Anyone else has something to say?
Sairam, I feel like maybe if they had a good bank balance in terms of karma, then they should have been able to get rich without doing illegal things. But maybe if they were...
Yeah, that's what exactly I thought. If they have a really good bank balance, they would have come with as a good person with it's a legal wealth and all those things. So they have some sort of the good karma. That's why they have earned some sort of the bank balance. But they also, maybe at the time, they also have had some bad karma. That's why they have come up with this sort of person with bad characters too. We don't know actually how the system works, but I was wondering myself.
I love how the system works. Like in spirituality, there is a system. Love it.
I don't know, maybe someone can elaborate more, but isn't money and like karma kind of like related? Like when someone gives you money with like bad intentions, or they're losing money to you and you're cheating them of that, like you also get all that karma.
Yeah, that's good. Good questions.
So, Sairam, brother, my understanding also, one more thing, if the person is holding a lot of money, that person into the spirituality, he won't be inside the money, but other person not under the spiritual, he will be inside the money. He think about the money and everything. So doesn't mean it is going to be affecting the karma. If you earn the money without the dharma, you have to face the consequence. That is my final thing. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother. Maybe maybe I will just comment on the questions. See, I think Swami is talking about having an account and withdrawing from that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the analogy Swami gave. But then Sister Ananti gave another twist to that, which is if somebody takes money which is out there by illegal means, what's happening? Is it coming from their account or not? I think that was the question. Sister, I think it applies just the way it applies in this world. See, whenever we indulge in an action, the action brings, we are crediting or debiting our account also. And we should understand, generally people steal because that's a tendency, vasana, which they have brought with them.
Yeah.
If you look at around in this world, there are many people who collect a lot of money illegally and they start giving away little bit in charity. Okay. Many rich people actually give away charity. So whether they willy-nilly or not, they have done some charity. Even people in this world today who are earning through illegal means, they give some things in charity. So that means they have accumulated good account as well as bad account. And these people who indulge in this life, in the next life also they will do the same thing. Okay, so I think that's their tendency. So they are accumulating negative karma, which one day is going to come and haunt. Because one day, even the little bit of charity you had and little bit of account may be so overdrawn, and then you get into a situation where you don't have anything. You will be looking for food and clothing. I was reading another quote of Swami where Swami says, if people do like this, they will be starving for food and will not have anything to wear. That kind of situation one will be driven to. But that is because you accumulate, and then that's the situation you end up in. And as Sister Kalyani said, yes, any money which comes to us, any goods which comes to us, we owe to this world some karma, because we owe to every single person. Even though we may have paid a price in a shop and bought something, we may be satisfied or we paid the price, but we may not have really paid for every single person who has contributed to that good or service coming to our hand. So every dollar which comes to our hand actually comes with certain karma, because after all the wealth we enjoy actually is produced by the world, and nothing is brought by us. Even food we eat, somebody has worked for it. But we don't necessarily have a sense of gratitude. We think, oh, we paid money and our job is done. But sometimes the person who really worked hard may not be getting what they really worked for. Like many goods which we buy for very cheap prices are coming to us only because there are people, there is even slavery going on and people are not paid properly. And we may say, oh, that someone else is committing the crime. We also become party to it by supporting that industry or that business. So, and we are very happy, or we were happy, or we bought it very cheap. And we think we pat ourselves on the back and say, I did a good bargain. But in the spiritual world, as Sister Shivani would say, the system will keep
Sister
count.
Kalyani said that.
Auntie Anandi.
The ISET system.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I was really visualizing it. There's a system, and like Bhagawan is sitting there, and there's a system that we are working in. Sorry for my visualization.
But prarabdha will never leave us. Prarabdha karma, what we have brought with us, it will never leave us. We have to face the consequences, I feel. But Arun, this
Yes.
somebody gives illegal money to us.
Yes.
Are we committing a mistake there, a sin there by accepting it?
Swami will say, don't accept. Generally,
Yeah.
Swami says there are discourses where Swami said, don't accept anything from anyone
Yeah.
other than your parents. That's what Swami says. With anyone else, you want to accept anything, you should have given something in return. You should have worked for it. And then one of the questions Swami used to ask the students is, okay, you went away, you got a job, how much are you getting? Then he will ask the question, are you working enough for that money?
That of course, yes.
Are you working, are you contributing enough for that money? That's the question we keep on asking.
Yeah.
So sometimes we want money, more and more of it, but without thinking that we should work for it. I think so. That's something with Swami.
Okay. Think
So,
we should.
I like to add to the point, brother, whatever you said, the slavery. Yeah, some countries, even I was watching other day, the documentary from Marketplace, even tomato paste, even tomatoes coming from some countries with the slavery. They're asking not to buy that one. Because even Bhagawan said, why we were praying before the eating the food, we don't know how the food came to the market. So it will affect us. So that's the reason, one of the reason we pray before eating too, because we don't want to get the sins out of that one too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam.
Think we should move on, don't we?
Yes.
I think.
Not to know this is the basic ignorance. A person so ignorant is blind. Really, happiness and misery are like the blind man, who must be accompanied or ever by one who sees. When the blind man is welcomed, you have inevitably to welcome the man with eyes, for he is the constant comrade of the blind man. So too, happiness and misery are inseparable. You cannot choose one, only one. Moreover, misery highlights the value of happiness. You feel happy by contrast with misery. Thus said Krishna to Arjuna to teach him the insignificance of all duality. Then Arjuna resumed, Madhava, what is the profit if your advice is followed and if the necessary tidiksha is cultivated, equanimity is cultivated? Forbearance is perhaps the only result. There is no benefit, isn't it? Krishna replied, O son of Kunti, the hero is the steady person who is not agitated to the slightest extent by ups and downs caused by roaring waves on the sea of life, who does not lose the poise which has become part of his nature, who keeps to his schedule of spiritual discipline, whatever the attraction or distraction. The wise man is he who is unaffected by the ever-present dualism of the objective world. He is the person referred to as Dhira. Wise.
Yeah.
So Swami is talking about the package. Nothing comes alone. You have to accept the package as a whole.
Yeah.
So happiness and misery, I say, is two sides of the same coin, and we cannot have only one side. I think that's what Swami is saying. The duality in this world. So then he goes into that's the profit. I think that was a question Kalyani asked. Why do we have to cultivate Titiksha? And Swami has answered it here. What is the profit if your advice is followed? And Swami says forbearance is perhaps the only result. Then Swami. So I will stop here. Anyone wants to comment on any of them, please go ahead.
In the second paragraph, Swami is subtly is introducing the topic of Sthita Prajna, I think. He is going to talk about it later, but he is saying Dhira. Who is a wise man? Dhira is the one who is not at all upset or agitated by ups and downs caused by by roaring waves on the sea of life. The equipoise, Swami wants us to be, again, Krishna is saying the same thing. Be equanimous, maintain your equanimity. Equipoise is the only thing which can save us from all the agitations of this life. Saira.
Saira, Auntie Sir. Anyone else would like to comment on anything, please?
I think we probably talked about it before, but can you please expand again the meaning of titiksha? Here it's translated as equanimity.
Forbearance, it was given in the previous paragraph.
Yes, Swami has used the word titiksha only. Auntie, in Telugu, titiksha only.
Yeah, I think, no. కాదు ఇట్లు పరమాత్మ బోధించగా సుఖము యొక్క విలువ అర్థము మాధవ నీవు చెప్పిన తితిక్ష స్వామి is using titisha.
And then in the next line, does Swami say forbearance is perhaps the only result in Telugu?
Yeah.
That is Arjuna's question. Arjuna is telling, I don't get any benefit, only forbearance I get.
He is looking for some other benefit. He says no benefit there.
And then further Krishna is saying, Kaunteya, like that is starting.
Samsara samudramandu ఎడలేరపి లేకుండా వచ్చి పడే సుఖదుఖములను తరంగములకు కించిత్తైనా చలించక చిత్త సామ్యం is using the word చిత్త సామ్యం కోల్పోక తన పట్టుదలతో నిష్టలో నిలిచిన వాడు ధీరుడు.
Chitta samyam, that means?
Chitta samyam is equanimity. Equipoise or equanimity.
So there Swami is introducing the equanimity concept.
Chitta samyan.
So that's the benefit.
That's the benefit. You will be able to face the dvandva, the duality, in a very equanimous manner, so that you will be not affected or get agitated by these things.
In Arjuna's question, where he's saying forbearance is perhaps the only result, what word does Swami use there in Telugu for forbearance?
మాధవ నువ్వు చెప్పినట్టు తితిక్షమను అవలంబించి సుఖదుఖములను జయించ కలుగు లాభమేమి. You said that I have to put up with everything with forbearance. What is the benefit there except
orpu matram.
Also orpu means patience also. It's not given here, I think.
Yeah, I think the translation says I think forbearance is perhaps the only result, is what they are saying.
Yeah, that is it. Yeah, orpu means the same thing. You put up with it, forbearance.
Orpu is
titiksha, forbearance, and sometimes Swami is using both the words, intermingling them sometimes.
Maybe if you can also clarify. So what's sahana? What's titiksha?
So sahana and titiksha are Sanskrit terms which Swami is using. Orpu is the Telugu word for the same thing. For the same, for sahana, I would say.
Yeah.
Sahana, orpu is the Telugu word.
Orpu is the Telugu word.
Okay.
Yes. So Swami is interchangeably using the Telugu word and the Sanskrit word.
Yeah.
To describe the same thing.
Same thing, yes.
Okay. Sahanam is orpu. In many discourses, Swami will say Sahanam ante orpu, like
correct.
that Swami. There at least you will find about 50-60 discourses only on Sahana. And in all of them, Swami will talk about this. Orpu, which is
Or-
Sahana. Okay, so Swami has used the word forbearance, Sahana or Orpu there. So I think from that sense, that translation is good.
Good, good.
So in this context or in this particular in the chapter, the forbearance and the tolerance are the same meaning, or
So I see the titiksha is an active effort on our part to put up with something. Sahanam is a state of mind which we cultivate. It's an end result. So this is the Arjuna's analysis, which is pretty good. He says, okay, if I try to put up with the difficulty, I will develop forbearance. Isn't that the only benefit from this? Is the question Arjuna is asking.
Yeah.
There's no other question. It's like Kalyani asking, okay, if I went to the cold and now I can bear the cold, you would reach that ability to put, to be able to withstand cold.
Yeah.
So there's no other benefit. Just like you asked, Kalyani. So
what is the benefit?
What is
So,
the
brother,
benefit?
what is the benefit then? Forbearance. So, what is it gaining?
you will become a dhira. Swami says you will become a dhira.
Dhira.
Aruna,
That is,
Aruna,
unaffected with anything, right?
Unaffected by anything else also, you will be unaffected.
Okay.
See, it is not only on that, it's overall quality, you will become a better person in many different respects. Swami says Dvandva, Swami is saying, once you learn, you will be able to overcome all dualities.
Yeah.
So it is not just one area. In all dualities, you will be able to overcome. I think that's the sense.
That's
Sister
good.
Aruna,
Thank you.
Sister Aruna is asking the question of Arjuna, what benefit is there?
Yes, of course. At the end, what's the benefit then?
You are going to become a dhira, a wise person.
Thank you, Mrs. Bhante.
It's like, you go to if you go to a sports clinic or something, the instructor will say do 50 push-ups. Then you will say, if I do push-ups only, I will become good at push-ups. He will say, no, you'll become a better sportsman. Okay. So the thing is, there are other benefits which accrue through some spiritual practice, which actually overall makes you a better person to deal with many other challenges. So it is similar to that. So do this exercise means you will ask, if they ask a lot of questions, the coach will say, just do it. And one day you'll find that you're good at what you are doing, as a good. So it's like that, I think.
Yeah.
You will develop stamina. It's basically you develop stamina. Stamina to do many things. So I think because your heart is strong means you can deal with anything. Aerobics, whatever. I think similar. Spiritual aerobics. Swami is.
Nice one.
So, Saram brother, here the spiritual discipline mean and that dualism mean that we have to think one Atma everywhere in the even plant, even any creatures. That's the one he's mentioning here. Think about only same Atma.
Yes, I think, brother, because Swami is in a couple of places, Swami has said this is the pathway to liberation. Mukti, Swami is giving that as. So he's saying at that stage you have overcome all dualities, as you are saying. So Swami says you have to start somewhere, but it will lead you to that final stage, is what Swami is repeating in every paragraph. At least one place he has said this.
But here, I think dualism of the objective world, he says.
Yes.
Very clearly, he says.
Dvandva.
Dvandva of the objective world. We are always facing this sukha, dukkha, heat and cold, everything we are facing. So that you will become a dhira, a wise person to take it in a manner, not getting affected by it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Dvandvalanu tiraskarinche shakti.
Dandvalanu tiraskarinche shakti.
This dhira is similar to our Tamil word dhiran, you know, the Veeran, Dhiran, that this dhira is equivalent to in Tamil word Thiran.
Dhirana brave also, ma. It means brave. But actual meaning is wise. Dhiran, avan Dhiran, Tamil, we say that,
Yes.
no?
That's a brave man.
He's a brave person, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dhiran in a, when you're fighting auntie or sister, you know, if a few chops also, you know, if anyone, you know, hurts you in any way, you'll put up with it. You know, bravely, you know, it won't sway you.
Yeah.
You know,
bravery.
Bravery. You're not afraid.
But the general meaning, or what always we understand, is Dhira means a brave person, a courageous person. But here, Dhira especially means wise person. A wise person who can deal with the dualities of the world.
The wise person will always be brave, but a brave person may not necessarily be wise.
Yeah. Exactly, Kalyani. That's a brave person need not be a wise person. he will go just ahead.
Auntie, you cannot be brave without wise. You know, you have to think to be brave too, right? It goes hands in. No?
No. Yeah, a Dhira, you know, a brave person goes just blindfolded. That's all. He is not wise. Of course, both the qualities should be there in a person. It all depends.
And you can say that, you know, Krishna is giving that explanation to Arjuna because Arjuna was in the battlefield. So, you know, he will understand the word dhira better than anyone else.
Yeah, correct.
So Arjuna, not only Krishna was preparing him in general, but he was also preparing him for the war. So he gave that, used the word dhira, which Arjuna really understands well.
Next paragraph, Swami is giving very beautiful
explanation of dhira. Yes.
Dhi means what? He is explaining.
Dhi means buddhi. It is the equality that makes a person a Purusha or a perfect man. It is not the dress or the mustache that marks out the man. Manhood comes with the rejection of the dual. To deserve the status, he ought to earn victory over internal force rather than the external. His exploit is to conquer the twin force of joy and grief. Well, you might have another doubt also. Your heart is a nest of doubts. You might still question, what is the gain of victory? The gain is immortality. Let me assure you, things of the world cannot confer that state of bliss. All that they can give is relative, not absolute bliss. When you rise above joy and grief, bliss is absolute, independent, full. Arjuna, you are a man among men, so you have no need of this paltry victory over worldly enemies. You deserve the bliss of immortality. Thus saying, Krishna began telling him of the science of Atma and Anatma, the discipline by which one can discriminate between the two.
Thank you, sister. So, you know, I think it's the sister Anandi asked the question in Tamil, we say Dhiran, is it the same thing? So Swami also knows it's not only in Tamil, in other languages also. People may not fully understand the word Dhira. So Swami goes on to explain what is the real meaning of Dhira, not the common usage which we have got accustomed to. And he says you are winner over internal force. That's the way Swami puts it. And Swami also is talking about bliss. I think there was a discussion about Sukha versus Ananda. So Swami has introduced that also. So I will stop here. Others can share any thoughts you have. Please go ahead.
In Telugu, there is a word when we address our sister's husband. In Tamil, there is no thing as Bava. Swami is using Bava. He calls Arjuna as Bava. Many times he calls him. We don't have it. In Kannada, we have that word, Bava.
Auntie, in Tamil we have, it's called Machan.
Machan, that's Machan. Bava.
Or
Bava,
Machinan or Machina, something like that. Both are used.
Yeah, but Swami is using that word for Arjuna, Bava, Bava. Very nice. That closeness which Krishna feels with Arjuna.
Yeah, they have not translated that, but
that's right. Brother-in-law.
But Auntie, here the Krishna replied, "O son of Kundi."
No, that's Kaunteya. No, that was earlier. Kaunteya Swami has used. But later on, in these two paragraphs, like, well, you might have another doubt also there.
Yes.
The Telugu says, Bhava, Mari, Nevu, Sandeham. So, you know.
Nevu, what is Sandehala Puttavu? He's saying it's a nest of doubts. He's calling it.
Full of doubts.
Full of doubts.
Brother, so you will be passing this grief and the joy, then you will get your bliss is absolute, right? So that gives you a bliss of immortality. So bliss of immortality and merge with the God is one and the same?
You are asking the wrong person, sister. I'm not sure. We just go by Swami's words. From the way we read, I think it is the same.
It is the same, right? Same.
All they can do is relative, not absolute bliss.
Where it says you are a man among men, does it just mean he's like one of the, like best men or something like that? Because it's capitalized in English, you are a man among men. I don't know.
Purusha is a perfect person. So you're Purusha.
Oh, he's saying, Arjuna, you are Purusha?
Purusha, the perfect man, not the man who wears a mustache or a dress of a man.
Oh,
he cannot be called man.
But down here where Krishna is referring to Arjuna down in the second paragraph?
Yeah, Arjuna, you are man among men.
Swami has used the word Bhava, Purusha Shreshtudavu. You are the greatest among Purushas.
So, brother, in the Swami, the men's are not wearing mustache because of, so in a spirituality side, they have to earn a man quality. That means they have to win this griefs and things to be a man, not like putting on the mustache will tell this man. That's why Swami has to take it out the mustache for all the
Aruna, you're just by a person wearing a man's clothes or a mustache, he doesn't become a man. Swami is saying he doesn't become a man.
Yeah, for that reason.
The quality of a Purusha, that Dhira, you have to become that wise person. Only then you are called Purusha. So then you are called man.
Yeah, it's a spirituality perspective only. Swami then would have asked the boys to take out the mustache then.
Maybe, I don't know.
Is that the right thing?
Arun knows better. Arun knows better.
No, so I think when Swami said, remove the facial hair, it was, it makes people start thinking, why do I have facial hair? What does it give, do to me? Do I think I feel people respect me like a man? all these thoughts, he wants us to, it's just not shaving the mustache doesn't make anyone a better person. But
Yeah.
going over the, reflecting on it, what is real manhood? He wanted us to dwell on it. So I think that is the reason Swami was very insistent that you take it out and see. Then you start asking questions. Is wearing a mustache and walking around and others saying, "Oh, you look very handsome and you look manly. Does it make me a man?" I think those are the questions which Swami wanted everyone to ask themselves. I think that's the reason. Because many things Swami does is to make us reflect, ask the question, how is it beneficial in a spiritual world? Because it also removes your superficial view of looking at your physical sense and say, I'm a man. Swami wanted us to find the man within. So there are many layers of meaning when Swami insisted that we should not have facial hair, because he's trying to break the common misconception of manhood itself in this world.
Very nice. Thank you.
And to our Sister Kalyani's question, the man among man, Swami has used the word Purusha Shreshtudavu. That is the word Swami says. That means you have a higher state among men. Okay, I hope it's okay.
Do you think he's like addressing like the real Purusha or something within Arjuna? Because even I'm not sure if it says that in the Telugu, but in the English, the U is capitalized as well. It says Arjuna U, or is that just a mistake?
See, Swami says you are. See, the thing is, Swami would tell this to everyone, also Sister Kalyani. He will say there's a Purusha of a higher nature in us. He's trying to let each one of us find that higher state. It is not that the Arjuna, the body, is the great man. So I think that's the way I understand. So that's why the next question, if you see Swami, next sentence, Swami says, these worldly enemies, don't think about you winning over these worldly enemies. I want you to become the real Purusha who actually has overcome the inner enemies. So that means the inner self is the real Purusha. So I think that's my understanding, but I will open it up for others to comment, please, Saira. Because whatever Krishna said is actually applicable to all of us. So Swami will look at each one of us and say, there is a great Purusha within you. Just realize that you are that and overcome your inner enemies. Okay, so I hope that's why sometimes, some of this translation can be a bit, unless, you look at all the sentences in total.
And you know what, when you said the overcome inner enemies, I'm just thinking inner enemies are Kauravas, those who are abundant in numbers, whereas, the good qualities are less in numbers, which is Pandavas. But if you're together as Pandavas, all the good qualities, and have your Lord on your side, on the side of Dharma, you can overcome all these enemies within you. So we have to overcome, as you said, this message is not just for man, but all the mankind, that not only overcome your worldly enemies, but you have to reach to a higher level.
Yes, sister. Thank you. Otherwise, it should not become a feminist thing. What about man? What about women? All these questions.
No.
Absolutely.
Swami has used the word Purusha, but in translation, very nicely put, sister. It is the divinity within everyone, which is the real Purusha Swami is referring to.
I'm just in the Telugu. What does it say for the last sentence? That Krishna began telling him the science of Atma and Anatma.
Yeah, that is a very important question. అనిత్య అసత్యమైన లౌకిక సుఖ దుఃఖములు జయము కాని ఈ అమృత ప్రాప్తి కాని ఆవశ్యకత కాదు. అమృత పథమే దాని గమ్యము. ఇమ్మార్టాలిటీ. ద గెయిన్ ఈస్ ఓన్లీ ఇమ్మార్టాలిటీ. సుఖ దుఃఖములను జయించిన లభించు ఫలము నిరపేక్షికమైన అమృతము. అన్ఎక్స్పెక్టెడ్ bliss it is. He says, cannot come.
Auntie, the next sentence she's asking about.
Yeah, I know. కనుక ఈ అనిత్య అసత్యమైన లౌకిక సుఖ దుఃఖముల జయము కానీ ఈ అమృత ప్రాప్తి కానీ ఆవశ్యకత కాదు. నిత్య అనిత్య, this is the so no need of paltry victory over worldly enemies. You deserve the bliss of misery. Thus Krishna began telling him of the signs of Atma and Anatma. Yeah.
So Auntie, the last sentence in the paragraph, itlu శోకించుచున్నాడు.
ఒక నిమిషం.
ఆక్షేపణము
ఇట్లు శోకించుచున్నాడు ఆక్షేపణను పురస్కరించుకొని అర్జునునకు ఆత్మానాత్మ వివేకమును చెప్పును. చెప్పేది.
So because Arjuna was shocked, means he was showing. I think that is shocking means he is sad, he's sorrowing. Because of that, Arjuna, Krishna is teaching him the difference between Atma and Anatma. Atma Anatma Vivekamunu Chappan. So he is telling him how to distinguish between Atma and Anatma, because Arjuna was feeling sad, feeling sorrow. So then Krishna is going on to say this. That's what Swami is saying.
So, brother, so can we take it like the science of Atma mean is a jnana, what is permanent?
Yeah.
And what is Anatma, what is not permanent? Thank you.
Next 2-3 paragraphs, I think Swami is covering that. So Swami is just preparing us for that. Lesson is for taken. It's about 4:25.
Okay.
I think we have gone. We will be missing Mani Auntie for a few weeks as she is going to be away.
We're going to miss you, Mani Auntie.
I take leave of you.
It's already granted by Baruna, brother.
Pardon?
Did you grant that permission to take leave?
Yeah. I seek all participants' permission, not only Arun.
Okay.
Yes.
Everybody's permission to go, and most of all Swami's permission. If he calls, I can go. Otherwise, I cannot go.
So, but granted for 2 weeks or what?
February. I'm coming back in February.
Wow.
But only I cannot participate. This is a odd time in India.
Oh, so you are going to India then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have a safe trip, Auntie.
Yeah, we wish you all the best and make a wonderful trip and yeah.
Have a safe trip, Mani Auntie.
Thank you, ma. Thank you.
We're going to
Sai Ram.
So what we will do is, if I will try my best. I have to start reading a little, prepare and come.
Pressure is coming on you, brother.
So I will reach out to Mani Auntie if I have some questions to discuss. So I will see.
Yeah.
So I think.
Thank you.
Saram, we have a new participant today, Brother Bala Muthusamy, and he's from the Saskatoon Vedic Chanting Group. Brother Bala, welcome to our study circle today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Hi, Ram.
Here I would like to say, can I say a few words?
Yes, brother.
Okay. About the wise man, it was stated in the Bhagavad Gita, wise man is compared with the ocean. See, ocean, whatever the water comes into the ocean, that time also it's going to be the same. And then even the evaporates also, it's going to be the same. Wise man is always compared with an ocean.
That's good.
That's all.
It's good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, brother. It's a
Nice analogy.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Very nice to have you, and we will love to hear from you in our
Thank you,
next
sir.
sessions.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. See you next time. Because I saw the message bit late, so that's why I joined bit late.
Okay, so we are studying Geetha Vahini. Now we are in chapter 5, I think.
No, chapter 2. Huh? Let go.
chapter 4. We are currently at chapter 4.
Chapter 4, yeah. So
Chapter
we are going
4. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay.
So,
But original
then-
Gita is chapter. Original Gita is second chapter.
Yes. And then every Monday when we chant the Rudram also, we have a person from India who is a very scholar in the Bhagavad Gita. So he is giving a talk for 15 to 20 minutes every week. Monday, he gives a talk. He is joining from India. His name is Sadasivam. So he is from Chennai. So he gives a talk. He gives a talk in English. After finishing the chanting, and then we listen to his lectures also.
Okay.
So please share the information, brother. Others will also like to, if they can.
His talks is very good. He gives a very good talk. So I know, this Monday we have the Ekadas Rudram. The next Monday we have the Rudram and Bhagavad Gita chanting explanation will be there. I'll send the link to Aruna, Sister Aruna, and then from there we'll see.
Yes, brother. I will be sharing with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Sai Ram.
So we'll close the session with Samasta Loka and Shanti.
Yeah.
Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, and thank you.
Bare